Hey there, fellow hungry travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here in Cartagena, Colombia. And today we're going to talk about what you should eat when you come here to Cartagena, because as Cartagena and Colombia become more and more popular, because people realize it's not the 80s, folks. You can come and visit, have a great time when you're here, and more cruise ships come through. I want to make sure you know the best food to have when you do come here. And we've got a video on the foods of Colombia, but I want to focus just on here in Cartagena, some of the specialties you really should look out for. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's one Colombian thing you really have to start with, and that's actually the fruit. You will see people selling fruit on the streets. You'll see people having fruit juices all over, smoothies, jugos, which are juices. You want to have that. You might go to a restaurant and see somebody drinking a big, tall glass of what looks like green loveliness. That's limonada, limeade. No, it's not lemonade. It's made out of limes. You can get the limeade here. You get limeade made with coconut milk. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But the thing is, you want to get the juices when you're here. And one of the ones you might never have heard of is lulo. Lulo, it looks like a kind of greenish, orangish orange, and it's kind of translucent inside, and they make lulada. Oh, lulada is so good. It's limeade and the lulo fruit together, and with the sweetness, oh my god, it's so good. But there's so many fruits, so many juices you want to have when you're here. It's very much Colombia doing the fruit thing, but have that, and you don't have to freak out because the water here is okay, so you'll be able to eat the fruit and enjoy it. All right, so I want to give you that one. But what about when you go to restaurants when you're here? Well, the big thing here is you want to get fried fish. Now I will warn you, when you get the fried fish, it is deep fried, so it does have that crispy KFC coating on it sometimes not, but sometimes it does. But what's important to realize is, since it's cooked whole, the bones and stuff, you're gonna have to deal with that, so be ready for it. But it is well worth it because the fish here is fantastic. If you get the fried fish, there's two things that comes with it you're gonna love. One is patacones. Basically, take a plantain, like a banana, fry it, smash it, then smash it again and fry it again. They'll have that with it. And then the most important thing, arroz con coco. And what that is coconut rice. Oh my god, the coconut rice here in Cartagena is fantastic. It's rice cooked with coconut, but then there'll be other flavors in it too, and like every restaurant has a different version. But oh my gosh, you got to have the coconut rice when you're here with that fried fish. Now the thing is, if you want fish, there's lots of different kinds you can get here. Probably the two biggest ones, one is pargo, which is snapper, another one tilapia, which is para, and there's lots of other fish you can have when you're here. But honestly, the fish is fantastic. You can never go wrong with the fish here. If they have a catch of the day, I'm sure it'll have the coconut rice and patacones with it, the banana, the plantain smash thing there. You can't go wrong, okay? Another seafood kind of thing you should try when you're here, this is one that's actually my favorite, is the cazuela de mariscos. It is a seafood casserole, would be the kind of definition of it, but think of all this different seafood, clams and fish and shrimp in a creamy casserole sauce. Oh my gosh, and you got rice with it as well. It is so good, and sometimes you get it with shrimp as well. Oh my god, you can't go wrong with the cazuela. The cazuela de mariscos is a must, and I will say it is kind of heavy, so when you have it, you're like, Mark, it's heavy food in this hot weather. It doesn't matter, you're gonna love it, okay? Now, the thing you have to realize, in Colombia, they love their soup, and even in a hot city like this, soup is a thing, and yes, soup for breakfast is a thing in Colombia as well. But there are a lot of different soups you can have. One is mondongo soup, which is tripe. I don't recommend it, but it is something you'll see on the menus here, so I think it's important for me to mention that to you. If you're not sure what tripe is, it's intestines, so be careful with that one. Another thing is sancocho, and sancocho is a soup you get throughout the country, and it's usually meat and potato soup, right? But here, they make it with fish. And you can sometimes choose the fish that goes into it, and it's really, really good. You'll probably have, some avocado on the side and some, patacone, or maybe, coconut rice on the side. But that is something, and I will tell you, if you do get the sancocho with fish, sometimes it has like the whole fish in it, so you have to deal with the bones there too. So just be aware of that, kind of like the fried fish. Now, another soup you might want to have, but it is quite fortifying, let's say, is mote de queso. And mote de queso, what it is, it's cheese, cheese soup, but it's got yams in it. Yeah, I mean, it packs a punch. Like, it'll give you the energy for the day. And that's a historical food from here, so it's something you should try if you can find it. Again, the heaviness of it is probably something you're not going to have a lot of times, but if you can find it, it's worth it. Now, don't worry, there's plenty of non-fish dishes when you're here. Posta negra, which is basically like beef in a sauce, you can have that when you're here. You might see it as stewed beef. Sometimes they translate it that way. But there's lots of things where they might have like a little steak for you, or beef or chicken. Like, you can have those things as well. But honestly, I would stick with the seafood when you're here. Like a nice starter thing you might get is ceviche. And here, it's like white fish and the tiger milk in there. It's really good. Or sometimes they have it with shrimp cocktails, so you can have cócteles de camarones. You can do that as well, which is another like nice little light starter, but something that's really traditional from here. Like if you're at the beach, there might be guys walking around with shrimp or shrimp cocktails for you. Well worth having when you are here. And those shrimps, you might see garlic shrimp or camarones de ajillo. That could be on a menu as well. But there's lots of shrimp, lots of seafood when you're here. That's one of the things you really should try. And honestly, if you're not sure, just get the catch of the day and you're gonna be fine. Now, some snacks you might see when you walk around town, when you're seeing all the little like street vendors out here, you might see arepa de queso. But what arepa is think of it more like a corn tortilla, but like bready kind of corn tortilla. And this arepas are basically the standard like bread thing here in Colombia, and it's made with corn. Okay, instead of flour, it's made with corn. And so when you have it, it can be, you know, tortilla-esque, or sometimes it's bread-like. But the one where they have with cheese in it, they have like the two tortilla kind of things, and they put the cheese in there, and you see it on the street. It'll be like this thick one when they make it on the street. When you get it at a restaurant, it might look like just two tortillas with cheese in the middle, so you might just have that. Now, see, he was selling water. You can drink the water here. It doesn't taste very good, so you know, spend the dollar to get a bottle of water when you're going around. That might be something to look out for. So I should talk about the drinks when you're here. Now, I talked about the fruit drinks. You can do that. But since this is a big time place for people to go and party and have fun, yes, there's lots and lots of cocktails you can have. And I recommend getting cocktails that have fruit in it to go along with the freshness of the fruit, so you have that. But one of the biggest ones you should have are mojitos. I know a lot of people say, mojitos, isn't that Cuban? Well, some people say it's actually from Colombia, and you have the limes here, the fresh limes, and you have that with the sugar in there. Very, very nice, you know, with the rum in there that makes things really, really nice. And I mean, if you are in Colombia, there is also aguardiente, which is a local spirit. You can have that too. So you have those things when you are here. And if worse comes to worse, you just want something that reminds you of home, maybe get some empanadas when you are here. It's basically like a little meat patty, little meat pie inside a shell of dough, and they fry them up here. You get them on the streets, you get them in the restaurants. I bet your hotel probably has them on their, you know, menu there as well. So that is a nice little treat to have when you're walking around, or a treat before you have your drinks or with your drinks. So there are all kinds of fun things to have when you are here.
So if you're looking for local candies while you're in Cartagena, there in that arcade behind me, there's all the local candy shops. So it's right near the clock tower, and you'll be able to find it really easily, but that's where you get your local sweets.
And honestly, we have a much longer video that talks about the foods of Colombia. So if you're like, well, Mark, you didn't mention ayaco. I'm like, well, that's from Bogota. You didn't mention this. Well, that's from here. This is things that I really recommend for you coming here, because I know a lot of people just come here on a cruise. They have 1 day or maybe 2 days. So I wanted to give you the best foods to have when you're here. And yes, you can eat here in the old town. No problem. You're going to be safe. Don't worry about that. Also, you can walk over to Gethsemane. That's actually where we stay when we're here. Tons of restaurants there. We can have local food with local flair. And if you do go to restaurants here, look on your bill. It might say propina, so the tip is already included. You can always give more. It's no big deal. In terms of prices of eating out, this is the most expensive city in Colombia. So if you're coming from Bogota, you're like, wait, everything's twice as much. Yeah, it is. So be aware of that. It's still not super, it's not like going and eating in the US or Europe, you know, Western Europe, but it is pricier than other places in South America, I would say that. Now, there are lots of entradas, starters you want to have when you're here. And my favorite one is actually the crab croquettes. If you can get those, there'll be a ball with shredded crab meat. I mean, you can actually go fishing for crab in Boquilla. Like, you can go up there and like catch crabs and stuff like that. But yes, the crabs, the little crab croquettes are fantastic when you're here. And the entradas are really good. There's always like, oh, if you're on a menu, you'll see entrada, which is a starter. And then they have platos fuertes, strong plates. That's the main dishes, so you know that. Also, I will say this with service in Cartagena, it's Colombia. Know that it's going to take a little time to get your seat, get your menu, get your food, get your bill. Just be ready for that. And when they do bring your bill, if you're going to pay with card, and a lot of places you can pay with card here, it's not been a problem. Cash is always acceptable, but you can pay with card. But if you put a card out, they might ask you a question, and you might not understand what they're asking. They're basically asking, is it a check card, a debit card, a savings card, a credit card? You just say credito. Credito means credit card, all right? So I hope that helps. And when you are going around, it's okay to look at the menu. There'll be a lot of, you know, the buskers on the street and the people on the street trying to get you to come in. You can talk to them. They'll be very helpful. And you can tell them, this is what I'm looking for. They're like, nah, we don't really have that here. And they might point you another way, because honestly, the people here in Cartagena, they are super nice and they want you to have a good time when you're here. So if you get a chance, talk to the locals. Even if you're not going to be buying their stuff, they'll still chat with you for a bit, you know? So enjoy it, because honestly, you're going to eat well and have a great time when you're here in Cartagena. So what are some other things people should have when they're here in Cartagena? Put it down in the comments below to help out other travelers have a fun, tasty time here in Cartagena, Colombia. Bye from Cartagena.